Hello and welcome to another Tabletop Games Blog Saturday review.
As we were walking through the forest on a mild, damp spring morning, with the mist still rising and the trees and other plants slowly waking up, as the sun was peeking over the horizon, we saw, to our great surprise, little creatures emerging from flowers and the hollows of the trees. Some wore cubeball hats, while others had slung oak leaf ponchos over their bodies. We even spotted some with little string instruments made from walnut halves. They were magical to behold as they walked along the forest floor and formed little groupings, 3 side by side and 3 deep. These were clearly Pixies by Johannes Gupi from Bombix. My enchanting introduction reflects the beautiful illustrations on the cards of this latest game from Bombix, which appears in the same series of games as Sea Salt and Paper. Created by the talented Sylvain Trabou, they are photos of models that Sylvain made himself from materials he found in the woods. These photos fit nicely with the style that Sea Salt and Paper features, also bringing something unique, special and even magical to the table. However, while the cards are certainly wonderful to look at, and there's a lot of detail to discover, Pixies really is very much an abstract card drafting game. It is all about the 4 different colors that feature on the cards. As Bombix has done for many of its other games, Pixies also uses the color add code to help people with color vision deficiencies. Every color is also displayed as a little symbol. Now, while I personally feel these symbols are a bit tiny and also quite similar, seeing the standard applied across a whole range of games is wonderful. It makes the games accessible to more people. Let's focus on the gameplay though. As a card drafting game, a number of cards equal to the number of players are drawn from the deck and revealed. Players then take turns choosing one of the cards and placing it in an imagined 3x3 grid in front of them. The position of the card depends on its number. Imagine the grid numbered 1 to 9. The numbers run in reading order from top left to bottom right. So 1 is in the top left, 3 in the top right, 5 in the center, 7 in the bottom left and 9 in the bottom right, etc. Every card is placed face up, unless there's already a card in the slot. In that case, you have 2 choices. You either flip the newly drawn card face down and slide it underneath the already placed face up card, or you flip the already placed card face down and place the newly drawn card face up on top. If the slot already has 2 cards, then the newly drawn card must be placed face down into an empty slot of your choice. Swirls on cards are plus points, 1 point for each swirl shown. Crosses are minus points, making it possible to lose points. If a swirl is next to a slash followed by a color, you score 1 point for every card in your 3x3 grid of that color. Some cards show all 4 colors and these can be scored as any color, potentially even as multiple colors if you have cards that each score for a different color. As you would expect, the last player is forced to take the remaining card before a new draft begins and new cards are revealed. We keep playing until someone has no empty slots left in their 3x3 grid. The card draft is finished and then we score. On top of the swirls and crosses we score cards in the largest area of the same color. All cards horizontally or vertically adjacent to each other count towards the largest group. Each card in that group scores a number of points based on the current round. To top up your score further, for every card that has a face down card underneath it, you add the number on the card itself. So a 9 in the bottom right with another card face down underneath is worth an additional 9 points, on top of the swirls or crosses. Pixies is played over 3 rounds, where a round ends after scoring, which means we score 3 times in the game and add the totals together to determine the winner. That's pretty much all the rules you need to play Pixies. It couldn't be much simpler. It's really easy to teach and doesn't take long to play. You can finish a game in 15 to 20 minutes. As it's just a deck of cards, it's perfect to take with you and play with family and friends. The cards aren't very big, the same size of those of sea salt and paper. Yet, you do need a bit of space on the table to make room for each player's 3x3 grid in the drafting row. However, with a bit of imagination you can probably fit it on a pub or restaurant table. Pixies is also a really light game in terms of thinkiness. You're very reliant on the luck of the card draw, making your decision mostly tactical. Sure, there is the potential of hate drafting, but really only when you end up with an equal choice between 2 or more cards. Otherwise, you're better off focusing on the card that's best for you and not worrying too much about what might benefit other players. Saying that, it is worth keeping half an eye on everyone else. I really enjoy Pixies when we play it, but if I had the choice between it and sea salt and paper, I would always prefer the latter. Yet, with a family group, especially with younger children, Pixies is going to be the better choice, not only because of the enchanting cards. So off you go and have a stroll through the woods. Maybe you will also be enchanted by Pixies, as I have been.
Thank you for listening to this Tabletop Games Blog Saturday Review podcast. Please check the description below for links mentioned in this episode, as well as to the written version of this article on the blog. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, give us some stars or leave a review. Please also tell your friends about me, and if you want to offer financial support, check out my Patreon and Ko-fi pages, links to which you'll find in the blog at tabletopgamesblog.com. So thank you again for listening, and I hope to see you again soon.
This podcast was made possible by the generous help of my supporters. Royal Patron Sean Newman, Magic Champion John Risley, Castle Guards David Miller and James Naylor, Dice Masters Alex Bardi, Paul Grogan and Robin Kay, and Shining Lights Jacob Davis, Gavin Jones, Sarah Reed and Richard Simpson.